want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
How'd it feel? Lots to bicker about these days. Political protests still erupting into free-for-alls on health care. Immigration also dividing the country, turning friends into enemies in some places. A crippling recession showing only small signs of turning around. And now two top pollsters are about to release a book called Mad as Hell and Not Gonna Take It Anymore. Here to debate the anger in America's electorate, John Fund, columnist for the Wall Street Journal, Susan Estrich, Fox News contributor and former campaign manager for Michael Dukakis, and Adam Geller, Republican strategist and former pollster for New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. All right, John, so the two pollsters who have written this book are folks who are familiar to our viewers, Doug Schoen, Democratic pollster, and Scott Rasmussen. And you started your article in an interesting way, saying you can tell it's a volatile political year when a balding, middle-aged pollster gets a standing ovation from hundreds of state legislators after delivering the news that only 23% of the people in this country believe the federal government has consent of the governed. What is this about?
Even the elites are mad at the other elites in Washington. This is actually not particularly partisan. This is just a primal rage of anger. This will be the third straight election in a row where the American people vote against the party in power. The Republicans took it on the shorts in 2006 because of foreign policy, in 2008 because of the economy. Now, Barack Obama, for reasons that are mysterious to me, didn't address the jobs issue. We have 9.5% unemployment. He went off and focused on other things, and the American people are mad as hell about it.
They do seem mad as hell, Susan. Is that real? Do you think that's an accurate statement?
Yes.
Why? Why are they so mad?
I think most people who are on the ballot right now, I've had this conversation, John and I were talking earlier, with everybody from conservative judges who are worried that if they're on the ballot to be, maintained or ratified for a long term, people will say, well, no.
Incumbents got to go.
Incumbents got to go. There's a fair amount of anger out there. I think Barack Obama tried to deal with the jobs issue, but he was dealing with a number of other issues at the same time, and you've got all these simmering problems. And I think voters just, people don't feel secure. They don't feel like they're in control. And, if you don't feel secure and you don't feel like you're in control, you're probably going to feel bad.
And then they say, Adam, that they don't trust big government to fix it. And yet, is that just a partisan thing? Because you see more and more Republicans and independents saying they don't want government to fix it. But do Democrats really feel that way? Or is it the independents and the Republicans who are mad?
Well, for the most part, it is independents who are really swinging this election. Now, Republicans are angry, and of course, there are more Democrat incumbents right now. Democrats are a little bit warm toward their party, but it's the independents who are behaving as Republicans, and those are the numbers that are really being reflected in the polls.
Or they're just behaving in an anti-government way. I don't know if it's as Republicans, John. It just seems like the growing din of Washington's broken. We're sick of those guys. They don't know what they're doing. They're causing more harm than good.
I agree with Susan. The slogan this year is shoot them all and we'll sort out the wounded later. Look, the bailouts were the key issue. The bailouts represented what
bipartisan,
what people fear most. Big business getting its bailout, not playing by the rules, where you pay for your faults.
But it started with President Bush and the bank bailout.
And Obama extended it with the takeover of GM and Chrysler and all of that. So the coalition, the collusion between big business and big government, that gets a big majority of the American people mad, because between big business and big government, you got big negatives.
Everybody can find some.
It feels unfair, but I mean that when you see bailout and even hear that term, it feels unfair.
Well,
They're like, we're going to help the state's teachers in Wyoming, even though we here in New York didn't cause that problem. I don't want to. I object. And then you want to take that out on somebody.
Well, look, I pay my mortgage. I bet everybody at this table pays their mortgage. Some years it's been kind of hard paying the mortgage. So when people hear bailout, what it means is those of us who do pay our mortgage, those of us who do pay our bills, those of us who don't overextend ourselves on credit should be, in a sense, penalized
Yeah.
for being restrained and paying our
At a
mortgage.
time when most Americans are already taxed through the eyeballs.
And if you're hurting, look, if I have extra money, I'm happy to give it away. If I don't have extra money, the idea of helping somebody else who bought a house they couldn't afford or ran up charges they can't afford is much tougher. And I think the challenge for Democrats and for the president in particular is to communicate to people that he gets it. That he, people used to say Bill Clinton's problem
There's
was
not
that
much
he felt
time. He's at
pain.
Martha's Vineyard right now. I don't know if there's much time left.
And that's the problem. I love Martha's Vineyards, but still.
But Susan talks about how if you've got extra money and you're willing to give to help, and yet there seems to be a growing objection that government more and more is saying, we'll just take your extra money and we'll decide who and when you're going to help them. And people are angry in response.
Well, there hasn't been a great execution. It's appeared that the federal government has been arrogant in the way in which they execute some of these programs, which adds to the anger that voters feel. And again, it's across the board anger.
How much, though, do you think something like, for example, healthcare plays in? I find that debate so interesting because we saw so many polls that said they don't like it, they don't want it, and the Democrats said they're going to like it. Just wait until it kicks in, and now here we are.
Last week they changed their message. They said we're no longer going to say this is going to save money. We're no longer going to say this cuts the deficit because people don't believe us.
They're not buying it. But how much does that play into the anger? People feel like something like healthcare is being manipulated and not to their benefit.
When you're ripped off at the store, it's one thing when you get a bad product delivered to you. It's another thing when the salesman lied through his teeth in giving you the bad product. It adds insult to injury.
But insisted on giving you the product when you were saying, no, I don't want it.
Healthcare hasn't really kicked in yet, and people are angry because everybody I talk to has this story of pre-Obamacare. This isn't covered, this isn't covered. I mean, times are kind of tough out there. And I think it is bipartisan in the sense, or nonpartisan in the sense that people across the board are angry. But big government is sort of like lawyers, Megyn. I mean, everybody hates it until you need it, and then you say, where are they?
Well, guess what? A lot of struggling Americans wanted government during the financial hard times, and all the things they heard from members of Congress heard from them was, "Where's my bailout?"
Yeah.
Big business got its bailout. Lots of other people didn't.
Can I say this? I got to go. But in addition to all those reasons for being angry, I actually truly believe that one of the things that's making Americans more angry is the increase of electronica in everybody's lives to the point where nobody has any free time.
We're all overstimulated.
We're overstimulated. We have no free time. Everything's a hurry.
We never look at our children in the eyes.
Everything's white knuckled. Got to get from point A to point B. Don't look out the window and enjoy the view. You're on the cell phone. That's just my own personal theory. But
I agree.
Nobody asked.
Should we all throw them away?
Let's do it.
Come
on. Go over to your friend's house. Knock on the door.
If the recession gets much worse, we won't be able to afford them. So we'll have to get rid
we'll have
of
that to look forward
As a bald middle-aged pollster, I might get some applause if I
You
come out with that.
I didn't want to make
Thank you,
crack
panel.
about that.
I appreciate it.